How we doing, everybody? And welcome into another preview show, another Friday preview show with Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trade. That's myself here. I got Aaron with me from Brutally Honest Sports, coming back for another preview show. Aaron, how we doing on this Friday? Are we excited for the weekend slate of sports?
Little bit less on the slate, but that's okay. I mean, it doesn't have to be full go all the time. Yeah, still a lot of football on. Meaningful. Every week in college is meaningful, and then obviously the NFL. So I'm ready to get right into it today. And I'm excited to talk about your team, the Badgers there.
Well, Penn State's not on the docket this weekend, so you get a little bit of you get a pass this weekend. You get a pass from having to, get worked up about your team squaring off. But Badgers, Big Red is coming to town, and no, not the gum. I hate the Big Red bubble gum. I don't know the cinnamon taste. Just not a fan of that crap. But Badgers, Alabama, that is going to be the biggest test the Badgers have had in Camp Randall in a long time. This is I've been trying all week long to think of what kind of scenario this is. This is like David and Goliath. There you go. David and Goliath kind of battle here between these two teams. And it is, as a Badger fan, I've gone into most games thinking that the Badgers could possibly somehow find a way to win a game. This one's tough. This one is going to be tough. Looking at this Alabama team as a whole right now, they have the thing that I think, and this is what I want to start with, the thing that, might help out Wisconsin, and I don't know if it will, but it might. Alabama has struggled. They struggled last week in the first half against South Florida, against Bulls down there. 14-6 was the score at the half. Alabama ended up putting up buckets of points then in that fourth quarter, 28 points in the fourth quarter. That's what made it look like it was a rout, when in all reality, Alabama didn't score in the third quarter. Like, it was at one point, USF actually, it was 14-13 at one point in this game going into that fourth quarter, and then Alabama just completely put the gas pedal. South Florida gave them everything they had for three quarters, and it was one of those games where the talent was eventually going to outweigh the effort in that game, and that's what we saw. So the one thing that I lean towards with Wisconsin in this game, if you can hold Alabama early, if you can try and, the biggest thing is to be able to get 3 and outs. You got to be able to get off the football field. You cannot let Alabama sustain long drives, wear out your defense, and then, at the end of the day, that just leads to trouble. We know it leads to trouble out there. So, Aaron, the spread for this game. What do you Alabama coming to town, taking out Wisconsin. You've seen a little bit of Wisconsin so far. How do you feel about this matchup between those two teams?
I think pretty much you hit the nail on the head when you say, you got to get those guys off the field and on the sideline as much as possible. I do, we kind of touched on Wisconsin's quarterback kind of not looking great so far. I'd put it that way. So that obviously can be problematic here, because even if the defense holds, it's, how many points can you – Alabama always has a stout defense. Both sides of the ball, that the Alabama team is just loaded. It just always is, ever since Nick Saban has kind of walked in there, and now obviously he's come and gone. But, the team is just – hasn't skipped a beat this year already. Trust me, I'm all for the Badgers in this game. I'll be tuned in at the very least, cheering on the Badgers. Other than, you want to keep that offense on the sideline. You got to control the time of possession, which goes into exactly what you already said there. So, if you can, sustain long drives, I still think you got to score 7 every time you get the chance. This is not a team where, we're going to out field goal kick them to death. It just, you got to put your foot on their throat. It's the Crimson Tide. It's number 4 team in the country right now. So it's a big ask for Wisconsin. Like you said, that, bringing up the spread there, 16.5 at home is pretty massive. I want to see them do it. Trust me, I do. Does my gut tell me they're going to do it? No, but this is why they play the game. It's going to be hostile. It's Camp Randall. It's a Big Ten school, and it's a Big Ten school that has, some hype behind them. It's not Northwestern and Indiana's of the world here. So There's definitely this would be a absolute shock of shocks to the college football landscape because, Alabama having a loss that early in the year, I'd expect them probably not to lose another game if they do. That's just kind of how they roll after a loss, but it's a big ask. I feel for Wisconsin because, I mean, Penn State hasn't played Alabama in so long, but I just remember they had to go down to Wisconsin or to Alabama, and it was just a massacre. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Never say never. Never say never.
The biggest thing that I look at heading into this game is turnovers. You got to be able to limit turnovers against Alabama. And it's always about if the ball rolls your way. Lots of times during these big matchups like this, you're going to see a fumble here, an interception here. Can you get Jalen Milroe to make a mistake? Try to force something into a coverage. Shouldn't have tried to make that throw. He did, ends up throwing an interception or a fumble up the middle. The Badgers will have to be good on the defensive front side of it, where the defensive line has struggled a little bit in that front line. They got to be able to find a way to slow down, contain Jalen Milroe, because you got to take away at least one aspect of his game. It's like the Packers with Jalen Hurts a week ago. I mean, Jalen Hurts has the ability to run the football, and he also has the ability to throw the football. You got to be able to control one aspect of his game there and try to keep him in that pocket if you are Wisconsin. Don't let him get outside, have good contain on the outer half there. So, I mean, I'm looking at that big factor there is controlling the turnover battle in this game. You can't let those things beat you. The pre-snap penalties, everything like that. It's almost like you have to play, if not perfect, dang near perfect. You have to be just about as perfect can be to even have a shot in this game against Alabama. Like we know with the spread, honestly, I think Wisconsin could keep it closer than that. And coming into this game, the way Wisconsin has looked, because they've started this year, they had that win over South Dakota last week there. I mean, not a breakthrough win, nothing crazy with that win at all. And then they had that win over Western Michigan. But both games, the thing that left fans, they had that sour taste in their mouths because they said to themselves, why did we only beat Western Michigan 28-14? Why did we only beat South Dakota 27-13? Like, those two games should have been routes. They should have looked like the Alabama and USF game did. But at the end of the day, I mean, I look at this game against South Dakota last week. Badgers scored their points in the fourth quarter. What did Alabama do against USF? They scored their points in the fourth quarter. Badgers didn't score as many points as what Alabama did in that fourth quarter, but it was a similar concept to a game. So then it brings it back to the point of, well, maybe those first two games, the Badgers just played down to the competition. It's one of those things that makes you question that. So a game like this almost is like, I want to see it. I want to see a game like this because you want a measuring stick. Give me one of the best teams in the country and throw my team out against them and see what happens. I mean, that's where I'm at with this game right now. When I think about it, would a loss here make me upset? No. Like I don't. Like you said, it's going to be tough. It's going to be an upset of upsets for the season right there if the Badgers pull this off. But when I look at this game, I say if the Badgers can keep it, let's just say within 14 points. If it's 28-14, that's probably not going to happen, that score there, but 28-14 as the final score, or 35-17, one of those kinds of things. And the Badgers are moving the ball. They maybe have an ill-advised turnover here. Well, you know where you went wrong in that sense. One of those games where you can look back on it and you can say, okay, it didn't look terrible. Now, if the Badgers go into this game and it's a rout, if it's 56-7 or something terrible like that, the offense looks like crap, the defense can't get a stop. It's just one of those games like when Wisconsin went down to Ohio State just a couple years ago. Yeah, a couple years ago at Graham Mertz, and it was like 28-0, and we were 5 minutes into the game. Like, that game was over before it started. If you can avoid that kind of game in this one, and you actually hang tough with Alabama, make it look like a game that you played against Alabama. Like, it was a tough game. Maybe at halftime you're 21-14, like a close game at halftime. And then after the half, Alabama comes out, they put up another score on you. You can't figure out a way to move football. Okay, now you have those things you can work on, but you feel a little bit better as a Badger fan. Because then going and playing a team like Penn State, I'm not saying that Penn State isn't a good football team, but right now Alabama's playing on a different level from what I've seen, at least when this offense gets cooking and the defense has got some solid guys on it. I mean, you feel better going to play a team like Penn State or even Nebraska right now, because looking at the Badgers' schedule, like that loss, those 2 wins to Western Michigan and South Dakota, those nail biter wins, made me nervous about going and playing teams like Iowa, like Nebraska. It's just that those 2 wins right there did not make me feel comfortable with the rest of the Badgers schedule to like confidently say we can win this game. Like there's no doubt in my mind we could win this game. I have doubts now. I got to get those doubts kind of relieved here, and that's where I'm looking at this game against Alabama. Though I don't know if the Badgers will win that game, I want to use it as my measuring stick to say to myself, okay, we didn't win this game, but there were good parts of it. The defensive line actually looked decent for a little bit. The offensive line looked like they were an actual offensive line and they weren't trying to block and flag football. Like it looked like it was a solid game. No shots at flag football there. It's a great league. Flag football is a great league. I don't want to take shots at them there. But it just looked like it was a solid game plan. Luke Fickell looked like he was a coach that I know for a fact can coach me in a big game, because I don't, truthfully, as a Badger fan, I still question Luke Fickell at times. I still question his hire. I still question why the Badgers did it, because I haven't seen any progression so far in this Badgers roster. I haven't seen it on the field, the play calling, everything like that. It's almost like we're staying stagnant. We're not getting better than what we were off of Paul Chryst. It's one of those things where this is a game, and you have USC coming up next week. This is Alabama followed by USC. USC is playing at a different level too. So you have 2 games now. If you get routed by Alabama, good luck on the road against USC. That's all I'm going to say. You want to have your confidence completely stripped from you at home by Alabama. Big Red just completely annihilates you. You feel like crap already. Then you get to go play USC on the road. Good luck. I mean, if that's a game by the half, I'll be surprised. If this game is going to tell me a lot. That's in long story short, this game against Alabama is going to tell me a lot about what this Badger team can actually do and what I kind of expect to see the rest of the way. Because if you hang with Alabama, this rest of the schedule, I mean, outside of Penn State's, that's a great team. Penn State's a great team. Oregon's a great team. Outside of those 2 teams, I don't feel as worried. I don't worry about routes along the way. I think the Badgers can hang with that schedule. You get routed by Alabama, we're sitting here talking like you can't play with anybody who's got any kind of brain. You can't play with anybody who's got a solid team behind them. Western Michigan, solid team. Badgers should have routed them. Like, honestly, should have routed them. Same with South Dakota. Like, that's an FCS school. No FCS school is supposed to come to your house and be able to make it a game heading into the 4th quarter. It's not supposed to. Look at Notre Dame. Yes, and that's what makes you feel better. Notre Dame got beat by, what was it, Northern Illinois?
Yes, Northern Illinois. Yep.
That's what made you feel a little bit better, was Northern Illinois did upset Notre Dame, but that's a Notre Dame thing to do. They love to get upset by some no-name school, and somehow they'll still end up in the college football playoff, because this whole format is to help Notre Dame get in. So that's kind of where I'm at with this Alabama-Wisconsin game. And you mentioned before, Tyler Van Dyke for Wisconsin. I got to see it. I got to see it in this game. I really do, because I have not seen him play like I am confident this guy can lead my offense in a big game yet. I haven't seen it from him yet where I'm like, this is a guy that we should have brought in. He can make those throws. He's pinpoint with it. He's good decision maker. He can check out of things. The pre-snap looks good. Everything. I haven't seen that yet. So this Wisconsin team heading into this game against Alabama, there's a lot of question marks yet, and too many question marks. And that's what makes me the most nervous about even saying that the Badgers could have a legitimate shot, is there's so many question marks on both sides of the football right now. It's tough to even look that way. So, I mean, Aaron, what is our projection? What is our projection for Alabama, Wisconsin? You got the spread numbers there. Do you think Alabama covers? Do you think Wisconsin covers in that one? What do you think happens in this game here?
Man. I mean, I the one thing I can point to, it's at Camp Randall. That at least you have that going for you. Because if this was in Tuscaloosa at a 17-point spread, I would probably hammer Alabama, just because that is a damn hard place to play. And then, you factor in just it's Alabama at home. Wisconsin hasn't looked great so far. That would be a kind of different ball game. Now, like I said, the jump around goes crazy. I will tip my cap. I mean, when Penn State goes out there, later this year, if it's a close game, that's like everybody was hyping up West Virginia, like, oh my God, how's Penn State going to go into Morgantown? Like, I'd much rather go into Morgantown than Madison. I'd much rather go into Morgantown than even Iowa. Iowa is a more hostile environment than Morgantown. So that whole notion that like West Virginia is some impossible place to get a win, that was a little overblown. But kind of besides the point there, I have to kind of hammer Alabama just because of the track record and like they're the number 4 team in the nation. Like if Penn State was playing Alabama, I'd hammer Alabama. Like I just can't see a path to victory realistically. I mean, like we've said, crazier things have happened, but I got to go like see. I don't even know. Is Wisconsin? Would you say Wisconsin's defense is their stronger suit so far? Stronger of the two sides of ball, or is that a mixed bag? Can they stop the run or the pass? Can they stop one of the two?
I think they're going to be better in the pass. Their run defense isn't great. And the top linebacker, Jake Chaney, because of a targeting call against South Dakota, will miss the first half versus Alabama. So that definitely does not help out the run game stop for them there.
Right. I mean, I see that they didn't give up a ton of points in either game, but like we're talking about, strength of schedule and like who they were playing too. Shoot though, Penn State went wire to wire with Bowling Green this week, and I felt like they might lose at one point, 17-7 at one point in that game. So, I gotta lean Alabama though. Unfortunately, I think this will be like I just see Alabama scoring a ton of points because that's what they do. I'll say it'll be like I hate to do it to you. I think it's like a 47-24 type game. Like it'll like maybe 48-21. Like I think they'll like Wisconsin might scratch between 20 and 23 points, somewhere in that range. But I just don't see them being able to. It's the Alabama's like a minor league NFL team. I mean, really, it's like these guys are just headed to the league, most of them. So it's just a tall ask, and I just don't know. I hope Wisconsin can like make it, even if it was like a game in the fourth quarter. I consider that a win for Wisconsin. I don't know if it's possible. I just don't know.
I think the series record is tied 1-1. I did not know that. I did not
there you
know
go.
that.
There you go. Yeah.
At one point. So, I mean, you got a battle of undefeated teams rolling into here week 3. That's all I know.
Any given Saturday.
Any given Saturday, right? I think this is Alabama's first true road test of the season. You're heading into a hostile environment in Camp Randall. Tickets, I mean, I am going to imagine just because Alabama's coming to town, it's going to be sold out. I'm guessing Camp Randall will be popping. If the Badgers can be in it by the third quarter, there's enough stadium noise you can make in Camp Randall that this could be a game in the fourth. I don't know if they win, but it could be a game in the fourth. I think Alabama uses the fourth quarter to pull away. I think it's going to be just like I mentioned before there with USF. They played well for 3 quarters, but the thing with it is that both teams, you're giving effort, but at some point, talent was going to outweigh the effort that was being given. And that's what happened. Alabama ended up, routing them in the fourth quarter. It wasn't until then that they figured it out. I'm looking at that same scenario in this game, Alabama-Wisconsin. I think it's going to be a game to start. And it always is a start, right? I don't think Alabama's going to come out guns a-blazing. They're not going to – this is hoping, right? Knock on wood here that this doesn't happen. But I don't think Alabama's coming out guns a-blazing in this one. Jalen Milroe, walks down the field for the first, score of the game right off the bat. I think Wisconsin hangs with them right away. I think they do. I just because of the stadium noise, just because this team knows what's in front of them. Fickell knows how to motivate a team. I don't know if he knows how to call it yet because, Phil Longo's listening to him on play calls, everything like that. I don't know if he knows how to call it yet. I don't know if he know that factor of it. But I know he knows how to motivate a team. And I think he can get the Badgers juiced up enough that I think they can hang with Alabama for a little bit here. And if it's a game by the third quarter, like you just mentioned, jump around, that is one of those things that if the Badgers are in a game and the opposing team can't, I wouldn't call it taunting you, but they start jumping around and they're up on the, on the bench, they're jumping around. Like, no team that's in a game against Alabama is doing that. But when you're routing Alabama or when you're routing Wisconsin, you're up on the benches, you're doing jump around with the crowd, everything like that. Maybe you are if you're in a tight game too. You might be too. But I think if the Badgers can keep the momentum into that third quarter, heading to the fourth, get jump around in, that definitely gives them that boost heading into the fourth quarter. I just think Alabama pulls away at some point in this game simply because of the talent level that they have is just going to be that much more than Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is still a little bit away from being to that same level. And I just don't think if you took Milroe and Tyler Van Dyke, put them side by side, Tyler Van Dyke does not have the same skill level as what Jalen Milroe has. He doesn't have the same athletic ability to get out of the pocket and run, and he doesn't have the same throwing arm. And I maybe he does. I haven't seen it yet. That's all I know. We played two crap teams, and our longest play is like 50 yards. So you're in an air raid offense where your longest play so far is for 50 yards, and that was a touchdown. The guy was wide open. He gained 45 of them running. So, in all reality, it wasn't much of a pass there. It's like I don't even know how to describe Wisconsin's offense. It's supposed to be an air raid, but it's not an air raid. It's like we have four wide, but we're running short, mid-level crossers, trying to just do dip and dunks, trying to move the ball. And that's another point I wanted to add into this. I forgot about that. The Badgers have to play this game methodically. I don't think you try to go big play. You're not going to hit big plays against Alabama. Like the secondary for Alabama, they're very athletic. They can hang with most receivers in the country. What I think Wisconsin has to do with this is win time. If they're going to win this game, you have to win time of possession. You have to walk the ball. You have to, if you're getting 3 to 4 yards of crack running straight up the middle, run 3 to 4 yards of crack running straight up the middle. And when Alabama goes to stop that by loading up the box, now you do your dump passes. Now you let your receivers do the work there on those short little dump passes. Don't try to do anything crazy. That's the big, it seems like every upset has that one trick play, right? That one stupid thing that happens. Just like, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right? The Philly special. Just that stupid play where the Eagles, they were a good team. I'm not saying the Eagles weren't a good team heading into that one, but they were taking on the Patriots, right? That was the Patriots.
Yeah.
It was the Patriots. Like, everybody expected the Patriots to win that game. And right. The Eagles just did that. It was a crazy play, a crazy trick play that led to that upset. I would say it was an upset win, to be honest with you, because when the Patriots were in the Super Bowl at that point, anybody who beat them was an upset win. If you want to win this game, if you're Wisconsin, though, get that stupid stuff out of your mind. Get that stupid stuff out of your mind. Just do the simple things. And it's almost like I'm going to ask the Badgers to regress right now, but I want you to go back to the Paul Chryst playbook. I want you to run the ball. I want you to use the tight ends, the play action. I think play action would be big in this game because the Badgers have two good running backs, Ches Malusi and Tyree Walker. You got those two in your backfield there. You have some decent enough tight ends that can catch the football and get out. And you also have some receivers that if you let them get open behind, they can make moves. They can make moves in the open field on anything short to make things happen. So I'm looking at this Wisconsin offense and I'm saying you have to play slow, methodical offense to beat Alabama. You have to win time of possession. This is all I'm saying with this. You don't have enough horses in this fight. You have about 2 horses in this one. Alabama's got about 30, right? You don't have the amount of horses they got. But what you do have, you have a home crowd. You have the ability for them to fire you up. Hopefully the Wisconsin crowd gets, the Badger team fired up. And they use that juice in this game to turn those 2 horses into 7. And at that point, we just continuously run the ball. Like, just run the ball, dump a pass off, do the little things, move the ball down the field, keep Alabama's offense on the sideline, keep their defense out there. Because what Alabama's going to do to Wisconsin, they're going to keep Wisconsin's offense on the sideline, and they're going to keep banging against their defense. That's all they're going to do all game long. Boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden, Wisconsin's defense is going to get tired, and then they won't be able to hold the line anymore. It's how it's been for years with Wisconsin. So in this game, even if you don't end that drive in a touchdown, you cannot go 3-and-out. You cannot go 3-and-out, 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 and expect to hang with Alabama because your defense is going to get tired. I'm not saying Wisconsin has to score on every possession. Every time they touch the ball, they have to score. But you got to get to the 50-yard line. You got to move the sticks at least a couple times, and then punt the ball away. Give Alabama the ball back at, like, let's just say the 10-yard line. Make Alabama have to go the complete opposite way to try and score against you. That's where I'm at in this game. I don't know. Is there any, I guess, keys to this one, Aaron, that you're like, if Wisconsin does this against Alabama, you know, you think that they could find a way to keep it close, or even, I don't want to say win it because that seems so far stretched at this point. It's a hope, right? It's always a hope. But just a way for Wisconsin to keep themselves in this game.
Yeah, I mean that's why they play. You know, they would just give Alabama the win if it was guaranteed, right? I mean, you never know. Alabama could muff 2 punts, throw a pick six. Like you never know. I mean, we saw Appalachian State go into the Big House and beat Michigan, way back. So I mean, like I said, we've seen crazier things. It's still a Big Ten school. They're 2-0. I mean, even though they're not ranked, it's a respectable program. It's not complete garbage we're talking about here. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think what you pointed out, with like going back to Paul Chryst' playbook, I think regardless of what they're running, and obviously execution is key, but like if Tyler Van Dyke is at the line and he's like his eyes are as big as the moon and he's like a deer in headlights, that's a problem. Like he's gotta. Like easier said than done, yes, but you're at home, so you should at least have some comfort level. Okay, we didn't have to travel. We're not in a SEC, town that we have no idea where anything is. Like, there's a lot of that type of thing that would go against Wisconsin if they had to travel to Tuscaloosa on top of playing, a team that is superior in talent to them. So I think just the mindset of these guys, like they can't be like, oh my God, we're playing Alabama. Like you can't think like that. You got to think, we're the better team. We're at home. Like we're going to execute our game plan. It doesn't matter who we're playing. We're going to execute what we have to do to win this game. So I think just obviously it takes more than just mindset. I'm not going to be like Tony Robbins here and saying that, just having a positive mindset is going to get you everything, but
you got to feel it. You got to feel the win.
You got to, well, you do. I don't disagree with that. I think it's, you got to be composed. Like even if something goes bad in the first, like, okay, let's say Wisconsin goes 3-and-out. They get the ball first and they don't defer. They take the ball and they go 3-and-out. Okay, move on. Like you have to have a short memory in this game. I remember when Penn State played Alabama, it was like one bad thing would happen and another bad thing. It would like domino. And before you know it, I'm looking at the scoreboard. I'm like, this game's over. Like it's like 40-6. I'm like, why do we even come down here? But it's, yeah, I think when you're talking keys to the game, you know, kind of the common sense of football, right? Keep the team on the sideline, wear down their defense. I mean, if Wisconsin, like you said, they always have good running backs. That's like a staple to their game, a staple to the program. So if you can just sustain long drives, not turn the ball over, like you cannot have like a pick six. You cannot have a fumble return 50 yards. Like that, just any little, like you almost have to play. I mean, you have to play damn near perfect. You have to limit the mistakes, limit the mental errors. If you have a mental error, that's going to be killer. So yeah, I mean, getting the crowd into it, keeping the crowd in the game, because how many games you turn on in the third quarter, the crowd's checked out because it's a blowout. So you got to keep the game close enough so the crowd's still there and doesn't exit and leave the game early. So yeah, the first even like half, I would just say that is crucial. Like you have to be executing from the jump, because if not, it can get ugly quick, especially against Alabama.
No, I agree. This is going to be one of those games for Wisconsin, and I might check myself out by the third quarter. Like it might be one of those days. I don't know.
Maybe I should. If I watch, it'll probably be bad. Knowing my luck, maybe I shouldn't even turn it on until it's halftime.
Well, that is true, because you told me, when was it? Last season, you were watching the Packers and 49ers game, and you were cheering for the Packers.
Yes. Yeah, the playoff game, yeah.
And they ended up losing that game. They ended up dousing it off at the end there, just like an Eagle fan would. So, I mean, it was one of those days. It was one. Maybe that's it. Maybe you were the bad luck that we have to avoid heading into this game, going up against them here.
It's whatever team I want to win never does. So maybe I should just root for Alabama and then they'll lose. That would be what it would be.
Or they'll just like completely just annihilate Wisconsin. I don't know. I'm hoping for a Bucky win. That's all I can say. I am going to be tuned in. I'm going to get the grill fired up at about 9 and maybe 8:30 tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to make tomorrow yet. The menu is still wide open, so I don't know what I'm going to make tomorrow before the game starts. But we might be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, putting something on the smoker. I don't know yet. I got the freezer about 50 feet away from me. So after we're done here, I'm heading to that freezer. I'm finding something that I'm going to put on that smoker, grill, green egg. I don't know. Whatever I feel like cooking on tomorrow. It's going to be breakfast and lunch put together. That's all I know. So it should be a heck of a day. Should be a heck of a day there. So let's look at the Big Ten Power Ranking Index. It's the Power Index for 2024 right now. The FPI rankings right now for the Big Ten. Right now, we have Ohio State up top, kind of what we expected. Penn State in that 2 spot right now. USC, they're in the 3 spot. Oregon's in the 4 spot, followed by Michigan. Then we see Washington in there. That's a surprise. Indiana, followed by Nebraska, Maryland, Iowa, Purdue. Let's see, Rutgers, Illinois, Minnesota, UCLA, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Northwestern. So it's what FPI is a measure of team strength that is meant to be the best predictor of the team's performance heading forward the rest of the season. Represents how many points above or below average a team is basically what the FPI is. So projected results are based on 20,000 simulations of the rest of the season using FPI. So that's basically where you get these rankings out of. They make rankings for everything. You could go through this and flip it around, and you'd see a million other different combinations of that. But that's right now where they see these teams finishing out, basically. That's where they see this team's finishing out, which is surprising because if they're running these simulations on College Football 25 on, the PlayStation or Xbox, the Badgers got a pretty good overall on there. So why are we down third to last in these simulations? That's what I want to know right now. But the Badgers definitely have a tough schedule. I mean, you look at like I just mentioned before, that you got Alabama on there. You have USC, who's the 3rd-ranked team on here yet. You play Penn State, who's the 2nd-ranked team on here yet. You have Oregon, who's the 4th-ranked team in the Big Ten, according to the FBI. Like, there's so many. I mean, they have so many good games coming up. It's ridiculous. The Badgers, with one of their years where they don't have their best team, has their best schedule. So it's like, how did that work out? We finally got this schedule where it's like, you win 10 of these games, you're probably into the college football playoff. And it's like, well, we got to win more than 7 first, and then we'll talk. So, I mean, Aaron, right now, I agree. I got to say, I kind of agree with the rankings here. I really do. I mean, Buckeyes have been the best team in the Big Ten. I really do believe Ohio State's been the best team in the Big Ten. Penn State, if you put them, I think you could interchange Penn State and USC. I think those 2 teams you could interchange because USC has looked good. They look great against LSU. I did not expect them to beat LSU. They look great against LSU. So, but Penn State has looked good too. I think what could be the knock on Penn State for me would be that Bowling Green game, just because Bowling Green was able to hang around. That's not telling you completely what you need to know about Penn State because week 1 was a dominant win over West Virginia. Maybe you took it a little bit lighter in week 2 against Bowling Green. You never know. Teams do that, right? Look at Alabama against South Florida. That shouldn't have been a game. So, I mean, you could interchange those 2. Oregon hasn't impressed me. I'll be honest with you. Oregon has not impressed me. Yep. That opening win they had against, I believe it was Idaho, was that first week game they had, and that was a ball game. Like that was.
Yeah. And Boise State.
Mess around Idaho that day. Like that was a game there. Wolverines have not impressed me at all. I got to say that Michigan has not completely. Their defense is phenomenal. Their defense is like top 10 in the country kind of defense. Their offense, no. Like that's why I said Texas was going to win that game last week, just because Michigan's offense could not hang with Texas' offense. It's the same thing where I'm talking about the Badgers in Alabama with defenses being able to hang on. Michigan's defense could only hang on so long in that game before Texas was just going to rout them, and that's what we saw in that one. Washington is a surprise. Washington, I did not expect to be great or anywhere near great this season. They've been playing good football. Nebraska's been playing good. I don't know what to think about a win against Colorado at this point because Colorado is just like I saw a thing where Deion Sanders doesn't want the band to play the fight song when Shadur Sanders scores a touchdown anymore because they want to play his rap song. They don't want to hear the fight song. They want to hear the rap song. That program, I get Deion is Deion. He's bringing in a lot of publicity and everything like that, but that's a crap show. That's a crap show out there. That's where I'm at with them. Looking down the rest of the line there, we see Maryland, Iowa. Iowa, I mean, they lost to Iowa State. Not a bad loss by any means. Iowa, again, still struggles on offense. They had those 40 points in week 1. Week 2, I believe it was 17 is what they had in that game. Like, there wasn't a lot of scoring going around for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So the offense is still the problem with them there. Purdue, Rutgers, the rest of this rankings is like, what can you talk about? Wisconsin down there, third to last. You had 2 games where you had the opportunities to blow out bad teams. You didn't do it. You're not going to get a good FPI ranking right now. Like, truth be told, that's where you're going to sit. That's where your rankings right now, Wisconsin is ranked 63rd in college football right now. So that's where they have the Badgers ranked in college football. Ohio State at 4, Nittany Lions 7, 8 with the Trojans, 11 with Oregon there in this ranking that they have in the Power Index. That's the Power Index ranking. My mistake there. That's the Power Index ranking that they're giving them. So, Aaron, here in that list, where do you see – is there anything that you would interchange there in those rankings? They seem pretty, close to what we've seen so far.
Yeah, after week 1, I was, I guess, almost premature as far as, I was like, oh my goodness, this could be a Penn State team that beats Ohio State. And I don't want to go as far as to say, from week 1 to week 2, I've completely jumped ship. But it's the same old with a James Franklin led program. They come home, especially after a bye week. Watch them play Kent State and come out flat for 2 quarters. I know everybody's now saying Bowling Green's probably the best team in the MAC, but I don't really care. I know a MAC team beat Notre Dame, this, that, and the third, but James Franklin talks about play like a championship standard every single play. I get that's not realistic. You're going to get beat on some plays, but you're in the fourth. This game, everybody, all the Penn State coverage I watch all the time is, hey, we're going to get Bo Prabula in the game, a kid that's from right down the road from where I live, second string quarterback. We're going to get our second team defense in the game. And till 3-4 minutes left. Bowling Green kicked an onside kick with less than 2 minutes left. That was that much of a challenge. So I can't be as high on Penn State as I want to be. I'll always keep it, brutally honest, as I say, but it's like I can't put them above USC right now. USC's defense is playing out of its mind. Penn State, I expected the defense to be, top 10 again, like it has been the last couple of seasons. But Bowling Green was they were finding ways to march down the field. The opening drive of the game, they went right down the field on Penn State defense, passing and, running the ball. So they're going to have to show me. Penn State's now in the show me category. I still think they're better than Oregon. They annihilated West Virginia week 1. So I give them the upper hand then. Obviously Michigan dropping a game already, which I'm here for it. I'm so glad about that, but I can't put Michigan above Penn State, but losing to Texas, that's a tough game anyway, but they did get kind of run off the field at the same rate. So 31-12 at home in the Big House, that's not a good showing. Obviously it's just not. So like you said, their defense is big time. It has been now for quite some time, but let me see what else we got here. I would go USC. I'd go Ohio State 1, USC 2, Penn State 3. Oregon, I guess that's fair because, these other teams like Indiana, putting Indiana, well above, so their projected win-loss rate is 7.9 all the way down to 4.2. Now, if you pull up, let's just say a Wisconsin, they're low, or they're 5.2 to 6.8. So their ceiling's lower, but they might not fall as hard as an Indiana. I'd still probably put Wisconsin over an Indiana. I don't quite get that. I know there's these metrics and stuff like that, but Maryland dropping a game already was a little bit surprising. I thought, they usually start the year pretty hot, like 3-4-5-0. But losing to Michigan State, not a great loss there, obviously. So a lot of these teams in this conference are kind of non-players, I would say, only because it's going to be top heavy. It feels like again. Now with not Wisconsin, Nebraska might be a little bit of a Cinderella this year. I mean, they seem like they have some momentum. We'll see if they keep it going with Matt Rule. I mean, Matt Rule does good in college, just not so much in the NFL. But yeah, other than that, I mean, you got Illinois. Illinois is a tricky team too. I never completely write them off, and Penn State will have them in a couple of weeks, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean the Purdue, Rutgers, UCLA's of the world, Michigan State. I mean, Michigan State is 2-0, but not projected to win more than at most like 6.4. So really 6 games on the year. We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to completely write off some of these teams yet, but it's going to take one of those outside, like a Wisconsin, possibly a Michigan State, but like a Nebraska, I give a better chance to. And then Oregon will be interesting. I don't know. Let's see who the hardest game they have, is Ohio State, at least coming up on a couple October 12th, they play Ohio State. So at home. So that would be interesting. I mean, Ohio State's not used to going out there. So
yeah. No, that should be a good matchup between those two teams. That's going to tell you a lot. I mean, that could be the Big Ten championship preview right there between those two teams at some point. So, I mean, big news all the way around. Let's get to the rest of the college football slate. So, I mean, over the weekend here, we're going to have a lot of games. Not a lot of great ones, but Aaron, how do you feel about like a betting line? How do you feel about like loser has to take? I thought about a pie to the face, but
I like that.
I don't want to waste a pie. So I'm thinking like whipped cream. I'm thinking like loser takes whipped cream to the face. You got to do it right here on the live next week. Just bam, right on the face. That's what the loser takes. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I'm game for that. There's got to be some type of stakes. I mean, if it's not cash money on the line, then embarrassment or pride, whatever you want to say, I'm here for it.
I don't think we can gamble on live here, so I think we do the whipped cream to the face. So I'm gonna pick. Let's say we pick 3 games. We'll pick 3 games apiece here, and we'll pick the winners of those games. Each of us will pick. Should we do it where I pick 3 games, you pick 3 games, I pick the winner of those 3 games, you pick the winner of those 3 games, and whoever's got the best record wins the competition?
We could that, or I'll raise you if like maybe there's a 3-point play game, a 2-point play game, and a 1-point. Because if we just, I mean, looking down the schedule, we could play this. I mean, like if we, no offense at all, but if like I could say Alabama's going to win, right? That's like. That's not a gimme. I don't want to say that, but it's like it's 92% of the public's taking Alabama. So I mean, that's a cop out. I even think Missouri against Boston College, that's a cop out. So I mean, somehow we can make it to where some type of system where it's not like, okay, we're just taking gimmies. Because I mean, yeah, a lot of these games on paper are gimmies, and it's never truly like, okay, Texas versus UTSA. That is like.
It might be a toss-up. That might be a toss-up game. I don't know. We'll see on that one. Come on now.
I give Wisconsin a much better chance than UT's.
We pick a game where you're going to put 3 points on. We pick a game where you're going to put 2 points, and we pick a game where you put 1 point on it. That's what you want to do there?
Something to that effect. Just where it's not like a walk in, because I mean, 3 games in college might like Tennessee's playing Kent State. That's another one where it could be just a walk in the park. So maybe we raise the stakes a little bit. So if one of these games falls through, somebody's gonna get screwed a little bit.
Okay. So let's start with. So you get to pick which game of these you want to put 3 points on. That's what you want to do.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. Let's see. I'll give you an interesting one to start with.
Okay.
Memphis at Florida State. Florida State's 0-2. DJ Uyunglele looks like a 1-star recruit right now, not a 5-star recruit. He looks the opposite right now. Memphis, Florida State. What do you got? Who's going to win that matchup?
That is a little bit of a wild card there. Man, it's hard to pick Wisconsin. Keep wanting to say Wisconsin. They're stuck in my head today, but it's hard to pick Florida State right now. It is. Let's see. Let's pull up a little bit of background here on this, but Memphis is 2-0.
What's your gut telling you? You got to go with what your gut's telling you.
Yeah, I'll go just because they're 0-2. I gotta go Florida State. I mean, I was just trying to see Memphis beat Troy and North Alabama, and they've beat nobody. They beat high school teams for my money. So I'll go Florida State. I'll take the Seminoles. You got to find a way to win a game eventually, right? It's week 3 and they haven't woke up yet. So
do you want to put points on it right away or wait until the end?
I'll wait till the end. I think that might be my 2 point. I don't want to go 3 point on that, but probably 2, but we'll hang tight for that right there.
All right, what do you got for me? What do you got for me? What is my
pulling up
matchup?
all? There are a couple. I mean, there's a game on right now actually, but let's see. I'm trying to give you something not a cakewalk. That's not fair. Central Michigan played Wisconsin, right?
Western Michigan played Wisconsin.
Western. Let me see. Central Michigan's 1-1. Who'd they lose? They lost to FIU. Jeez. I guess I can't give you Central Michigan and Illinois. That's not good enough, right?
No. Come on.
That's what. Oh man.
There's
all
some
right, I'll give you.
games. There's some rivalry games happening.
There are. What about Texas A&M, Florida? Some appeal there.
Texas A&M and Florida. Florida's not sure on the quarterback position right now. I know good old Grammy Mertz is down there.
Both are 1-1.
Legend.
Both 1-1 squads right now.
When is that game at?
At Florida. At the Swamp.
Florida. What time?
That's a 3:30 kick on ABC.
I'm gonna take Texas A&M. I'm gonna take Texas A&M over Florida. I think I'm gonna take that one there.
That's it. I probably would went just because of the Swamp, but I like that pick.
All right.
Neither team is ranked anymore. I think they were both ranked start the year.
Probably. I'm going to give you a rivalry. We got to go with the rivalry matchup here. Washington State. That should be a good game. Washington State at Washington, but really it's like, are you really playing a road game right now? It's in the same state, so you're not going that far.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know much about Washington State. They won week 1. They won 70-30. So I mean that you can't put up many more points than that. And then they routed Texas Tech 37-16. I know Washington University Huskies are 2-0 as well. They've played nobody though. Weber State and Eastern Michigan, so absolutely nobody. Might as well play my high school team. So, man, part of me wants to go Washington State here. It's not what my gut is telling me though. My gut is telling me to take Washington. So I'm going to listen to my gut here. I'm going to take Washington.
Washington with the win in that one. All right, what do you got for me? Game two. What do you got for me?
Game two. Let's pull these back up. Got too many tabs open here. Let's go right back in to man. I don't know. Is this Oh, here we go. I can see the spreads here on the side. I'll find one that's close. Because I was gonna go Purdue Notre Dame, but I think I know where you're gonna go with that.
That could be a good game. That could be a very good game.
Not easy to win at Purdue. It's just not.
No, that could be a very good game, Notre Dame and Purdue.
Let me see if I can find something else here. That's my backup plan for the time being. Okay, here we go. Yeah, how about UCF at TCU? It's a 2-point spread. That's a pick 'em almost.
Wowza. UCF at TCU. 6:30 kickoff at TCU. That's going to be close. I'm going to give me, UCF's got a little bit of both. Hammering down here. TCU's got an impressive win over Stanford, I guess you could say. Give me UCF. Give me UCF going into TCU and pulling off the dub.
Respect it. I guess I lean too heavily on home teams, but I could see it. I mean, that's a 2-point spread. That's anybody's game, really. That's up for grabs.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's go random. Game. Nobody's gonna care about in this one. Let's see here. Give me a close line here. Okay. Jacksonville State at Eastern Michigan. That is going to be a 6:00 kickoff on ESPN Plus.
Okay. Oh man, Central Michigan. You say?
Eastern Michigan.
Eastern. Man, I always get that. I always do that. Let me see. When's that kick? You said I'm going to pull that back up.
6:00. 6:00 kick for that one.
All right, we're getting down in here. Akron, Georgia Southern. Where's it at, dude? Oh my goodness.
Right below Vanderbilt. 2 below Texas and UTSA.
Oh, what? Western Michigan or Eastern Michigan?
Eastern Michigan. Michigan taking on Jacksonville State.
I guess I'm just stupid here because I keep going. I see Georgia Southern, I see Akron, I see Charlotte, and then 6:30 kicks.
All right, I'll tell you this right now. Jacksonville State's 0-2. Eastern Michigan is 1-1. Eastern Michigan's got a win over UMass, but they did lose to Washington 30-9. Jacksonville State has lost to Coastal Carolina and Louisville. Right now, the matchup predictors telling me 68% are saying Eastern Michigan is going to win this
game. All right, here we go. I got it up here. I guess they're tied for first in the MAC. I guess everybody has one loss in the MAC. Is what that's telling me. I mean, they got Eastern Michigan 30-9 to Washington. At Washington. So Eastern Michigan is the Eagles. So maybe for that simple fact, I mean, it's hard picking an 0-2 team on the road, but that almost makes me feel like they might be more desperate. So what is this? Eastern Michigan. Wow, the spread is a single point in this one.
1 point. I couldn't believe it because as bad as Jacksonville State looks like they are.
Man, that almost tells me that I want to go Jacksonville State only because they're underdog and it's only a point. It's only a point we're talking about. Give me I'll raise the stakes and make it fun. I'll go Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville State with the win in that one. All right, I got one more.
Gamecocks. They're not the fake Gamecock. They're not the South Carolina Gamecocks.
I got one more. I am ready.
You're ready. Let's go back in here.
We need a random. This is the random round. Some random schools.
Random schools here. Give me a little bit here. Let's see. Let's roll the dice. It's got to be close, right? The spread, because then it's just not fun.
Oh, this is true.
Okay, I got one. I was talking to my buddy who lives in the state of Maryland today. Maryland at Virginia, 8:00 kickoff. It's a military-style tribute night, so got to tip your cap. I mean, can't hate that. Can't hate that at all. At Virginia, Maryland coming off a bad loss. Maryland lost to Michigan State last week. So Maryland 1-1, Virginia 2-0. Virginia Cavaliers have played Wake Forest and Richmond. So really nobody, and they squeaked by Wake Forest by a single point.
Wow. That is going to be a barn burner.
1 point spread.
Give me Maryland. I think Maryland will win that game. I think they'll take them in that game. I think Maryland over Virginia.
Big Ten, stand up. Big Ten, stand up. Take down that ACC. Why not?
You got to. Okay, so we have our matchups. We have our projections. Who's going to win? Now, which one are you going to put 3? Which one are you going to put 2 on? And which one are you going to put 1 on? So you got Florida State and Memphis. You got Florida State winning. You got Washington over Washington State. And then you have Jacksonville State beating Eastern Michigan on the road. Which one are you going to put 3 on? Which one are you going to put 2? Where's your 1?
What was the first one again? That's the one I was leaning.
Memphis and Florida State.
Oh man, I don't feel comfortable putting 3 on that. I'll go Washington as my 3-star play.
That's the 3.
I'll go. Damn. I'm hesitant to take Florida State with any type of skin on the game there because I just they have not looked good. That game's at home, right, for Florida State?
Yes. Yep. Memphis and
All right.
Florida State.
Give me the 2-point play on Florida State, I guess.
Then
Don't love it, but
Jacksonville State.
And then Jacksonville State with the little 1-point play.
Yeah, my things are going to be closer, and I'll get out. Give me 2 for Texas A&M over Florida. Give me 1 for UCF over TCU. Give me my 3 with Maryland over Virginia.
Ooh, 3-point play on a road 1-point spread. I like it.
I don't know. I'm looking at that Texas A&M Florida game. It's in the swamp. That's going to be tough. I got UCF going to TCU and pulling off an upset. That's going to be tough. So those are 2 road games. Maryland's on the road it's technically not on the road. It's just
not too far. Yeah, not across the country at least.
And it's like both teams are close to this area, so it's close for everybody. So who's the home game really going to be for in that one? I don't know. Like they're giving Maryland 67% chance to win this game. The spread is not the same as what our matchup predictor is trying to tell us. So I don't know. I'm telling you what. If I have to take whipped cream to the face because of this crappy schedule we just got for college football this weekend, I got to take whipped cream. So I know. So let's get to the NFL. We got to get to the NFL. Holy catsola, we've ran long on college football today. We got to get to the NFL today yet. Packers, Colts coming up this weekend here. Packers, we don't know. We don't know if Jordan Love is going to play. I'm going to give it about a 0.0000. You keep going with the 0 for half an hour and then a 1 at the end of that. That's a chance of giving Jordan Love play. It's one of those, and the only thing I've said is it's one of those ploys where a head coach is not going to tell you a guy isn't going to play because then in the back of your head, as the Colts head coach, you're sitting there thinking, he's not playing, but like he's still there. He might play. There's that chance. He's probably not. We don't really have to prepare for him, but at the same time, he might play. So it's that kind of mind game that you're trying to play with him. I really do think it's going to be Malik Willis. Willis coming over from the Titans. He's not a bad quarterback, but he hasn't had a lot of time yet. He hasn't had a lot of time in the system. In Green Bay, he's definitely got the athletic ability. Maybe the Packers try to run a little bit more with him. They try to run a little bit more of like an option or something like that, a play action kind of scheme with Malik Willis. It's going to be heavily reliant to me. You look at what the Texans were able to do to the Colts last week, and they ran the ball all over them last week. And that was a lot to do with Joe Mixon played a great game. Well, as Matt LaFleur said, when you get all ran over like the Colts did, you go back to the drawing board, you figure out ways to stop the run, you get better in week 2, right? So it might not be the same game plan for the Packers, but you still got to attempt it because you got to take some pressure off Malik Willis. You can't try to, I don't know, Aaron. I mean, we watched the Eagles-Packers game. We watched it. We know what, the outcome was there. But it seemed like the Packers were really reliant early on Jordan Love's arm. They were trying to make Jordan Love make these decisions, make the throws, weren't really reliant on the run game until later on in the game when they started to lean on Josh Jacobs or Emmanuel Wilson to make moves. And the Eagles did a good job controlling the run for Green Bay, but they weren't really running the football. So, I mean, in this game here, you got to be able to rely on the run, right? I mean, you have a rookie quarterback, still technically a rookie quarterback, who's going to be making his first start in Green Bay. He's got a different system he's been trying to learn here really fast coming in. And you got to be able to take that pressure off him because he knows what the job is. He knows what he's getting asked to do at this point. Keep the Packers afloat, right? I mean, this is a playoff caliber team in Green Bay. But if Jordan Love doesn't come back for 4 weeks and Malik Willis doesn't produce and you're 0-4 heading into, let's just say, when Jordan Love comes back, if the Packers were potentially sitting there at 0-4, you're looking at the Rams, Cardinals, Texans, and Jaguars coming up after Jordan Love comes back. That's a tough stretch of games that you're asking Jordan Love to just come back in and win you right off the bat. So, I mean, Aaron, heading into this one, rookie QB, what are some of your keys for the Packers heading into this one that they have to do to try and get a win here against the Colts? It's at home, so that definitely helps. But what are you looking at the Packers? They got to do this to help them win this game against the Colts.
I think, and I'm not going to put all those like there were a couple throws where Jordan Love was, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I will rip the NFL to the end of time. I'll be in the casket still ripping them on these fields that they slop together. I mean, I get it's a soccer field, but just be better than that, you know? So I give Jordan Love at least a little bit of grace there because, I mean, you saw first run that Saquon took completely fell down. I thought he tore his ACL to start the year. That would have made me real happy. But I think, you know, with Malik Willis coming in, like you said, I don't want to make it sound like he's crap, but they're going to dumb down the offense. I think that's what I expect. I expect it to be more basic, you know, kind of get the ball out of his hand quick, lean on Josh Jacobs. Now, looking at the Colts on that side of the ball, I mean, they hung in there. It's in the division games. I always like kind of grade that with a curve just because it seems like every division game is close, no matter if it's the Jets playing the Bills or whoever. Like if it's a division within a division game, like Houston and the Colts last week, 2-point game. It doesn't surprise me. Division game. So are the Colts can they keep up with like the Texans if the Texans are really that good again? That remains to be seen. I mean, Richardson didn't play bad. I mean, under 50% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, but a pick. He also, had 56 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown. So I think, to me, if you're the Packers, you got to minimize how much he hurts you on the ground because you want to keep this. I mean, you don't want to be in a shootout with them. That's not – I mean, with a quarterback coming in that, we don't really know what Malik Willis is. You want to keep this, manageable, like a 24-17 type of game. You don't want this to go above 30, in my opinion, if you're the Packers. So I just think you got to lean on Jacobs. Like you brought him in, you let Aaron Jones go. Just lean on him, see what you can do in the run game. Don't put too much on Malik Willis, especially this week, because it's like, I mean, shoot, a couple weeks ago, Sean Clifford sitting there, and boom, he's out the door, and now you got Malik Willis. So all new player. This is all new to him coming over. So, yeah, I'd say ground and pound and maybe keep a quarterback spy on Richardson because running it seems like it is part of his game, and it's a big part of his game. So I'd say those two things, like we kind of said with Wisconsin, don't be, playing from behind and don't be like losing the time of possession battle. Cause then if you got to play from behind with Malik Willis, you don't know what you got. I'm not saying he can't do it, but it's an unknown. It's anybody's guess at that point.
Yeah. I mean, big time. You mentioned it there, controlling the run game. If you are Green Bay, you got to be able to control the line of scrimmage in this game. A lot of it's going to come down to the linebacker core. It's the same against the Eagles there, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. Now you're taking on Anthony Richardson, who might be a step ahead of Jalen Hurts in the run game. Not as big, but can move, right? And Jonathan Taylor, who maybe isn't as good as Saquon, but Jonathan Taylor is still a very good back. So now you're talking about that same combo a week later. The defense has got to be able to step up in this game. And then, I mean, you're looking at the pass game. Jair Alexander, dude, just shut up. Just play football. If you're going to be trash talking out there, back it up. Give me about 5 minutes where you actually back up that trash talk because A.J. Brown has your jersey hanging over his mantle right now with the rest of the jerseys of the guys that he's cooked, right? He cooked you last week. You have to step up. Jair, my big thing with Jair is it's not like he's playing for a roster spot. Jair's on the roster. Like, he's not playing for a roster spot, but Jair Alexander's playing to prove himself that he's still an all-pearl cornerback. Like, he's got to be able to prove that. He's got to be able to show Green Bay fans and the NFL, like, hey, I'm a top cornerback. You don't want to throw out here. Right now, teams aren't worried about that. So, Jair's got to step up big in this game. Quay Walker's got to be big up the middle for Green Bay. The defensive line looked like trash against the Eagles. The Eagles' offensive line moved the defensive line for Green Bay. Something that I didn't see happening, maybe a play here, a play there. The Eagles' offensive line, when they wanted to, they manhandled the defensive line for Green Bay. There has got to be something up front that gets changed in this game. Maybe it's intensity. Maybe it's the physical aspect of this game. But they got to find it game 2 here. I don't blame a lot of people want to say Jeff Hafley. Well, Hafley stunk with his play calling in game 1. You know what? Yeah, okay, maybe you didn't agree with Hafley's play calling in week 1. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't agree in the scheming that he was doing. But end of the day, that's a rookie defensive coordinator in his first game of the season down in Brazil taking on the Eagles. That's, okay, cut the guy slack for a week. If it's the same crap show all season long, now we talk about it. Right now, I'm looking at the physical standpoint of this Packers defense because a lot of missed tackles down in Brazil. A lot of missed tackles. You can blame that on the field conditions. You can blame it on this. You can blame it on that. The field conditions didn't help, but we had guys wrapped up. We had guys. Jalen Hurts drugged Quay Walker like 6 feet. Quay Walker's a big dude. Jalen Hurts is a big dude. I'm not saying he's not, but you got to be able to bring guys like that down late in games. Now, the penalties definitely didn't help out the Packers. I want to get you. There was one penalty, actually 2 of them, that I brought up on my own show there, Aaron. But the one that they called on Jair Alexander on Devontae Smith, the pass interference call, where Jair wasn't even holding him. He wasn't even touching him. There was a little bit of hand shoving coming off the line. And then Devontae Smith went out to the outside, and Jair got called for pass interference. And it's like, he wasn't, he's not even by him anymore. That's how much Devontae got away. He wasn't even touching him. And then the other one was Kenny Clark was called for holding, or defensive holding on the line. Saquon Barkley was trying to come through and block him. And then all of a sudden, Saquon was trying to leave, and Kenny's a big dude. So Kenny's like, you ain't leaving. I'm holding you here. You're blocking. He didn't, I don't know if it was one of those where, Kenny Clark didn't realize, Saquon's here to chip me, and then he's going out. He's holding him there. But I've never, I got to say, I'm not that old, so I haven't watched years of football, right? But I've watched enough football to say I have not seen a defensive holding, a pass interference holding, from a defensive lineman. I can't say I've seen that one before. There was a lot of calls in that game, and a lot of calls where both ways, where I was scratching my head, just like you did there. I'm sitting there scratching my head, what did they just call? Serious? That play on Devontae Smith, that was close to the end of the game. That was 3rd down. Packers would have got off the field there, would have got the ball back. I think that was on the scoring drive for the Eagles that they called that one. And instead, 1st and 10 for the Eagles. They get to move the sticks. Not saying it would have changed the game. Maybe it still ends up in a loss for Green Bay, but it definitely did not help in any means. There's a lot of bad calls in that game. I was wondering, were there any calls that you saw in that Packers-Eagles game where you were like, what? What just happened?
Yeah, I remember, sending a message over to you about that. That defensive holding was I'm not going to be biased when it comes to if my team's getting helped by the refs, I'll be the first one to tell you these refs are just point blank dumb. But yeah, that defensive holding one stood out to me even more. Was just that it didn't make sense. Like you said, I don't remember the last time or if ever I've seen that, and it was just a split second thing. How many times do you see guys just wrapped up for a second and then, boom, it's on to the next thing. It's it's a car crash and then, on to the next. So yeah, that one in particular, I'd have to go back. There were a couple that even that I thought the Packers got that I didn't really quite understand. If you look at week 1, I hate to bring up the whole oh, is is Vegas involved in some of this, but the Chiefs Ravens game, that game was horribly officiated. If a close friend of mine's a Ravens fan, he's losing his mind. I'm like, you just gotta expect it by now with the Chiefs there. That one offensive lineman jumps off sides almost he literally gets a head start and then they go. So it's another year of I hope, we see it. We've complained about it in baseball. We're complaining about it in football week 1. They got to clean it up, and I don't know if they will. I hope they do. It's not like every game you watch is horribly officiated, but on plays you bring up the Devontae Smith one's a little bit foggy now in my mind, but I'm sure you have a good point there. It's just these ticky tack ones, and then that game, it felt like every 2-3 plays there was a penalty. So I'm like, come on, I get it. There's holding on every play, and it's up to the discretion of the ref. But we've seen it time and time again where certain games they call, it's just a flag party, and then the next week they don't call anything. It's just, I hope there's somewhat consistency, and there's probably not going to be because it's different officiating crews. But yeah, I the ticky tack pass interferences and the defensive hold, like just stupid things like that definitely bothers me. And like I said, if it's against my team, even if it's for my team, I don't feel as good because it's like, okay, they gave us that one. Like that's a blown call. It's a stupid call. It's not, and especially in a crucial time of the game, it should be definitive. Okay, he's holding, like there's, it's I know he retired, but Aaron Donald's getting like absolutely obstructed to the point he can't move, or like Bosa on the 49ers there. Like I've seen times where he gets absolutely just annihilated at the line and nobody calls anything. So we'll see. I don't have much faith in these refs again, but yeah, it's definitely, there were a lot of that Brazil game, just it didn't have a good flow to it. It felt like it just felt like it was like never ending, and it was penalty, and I don't know. I just that whole game was just Eagles got the win. Yeah, I can be happy about that, but it didn't, even the way they, like, if the Packers, I was telling you, if the Packers catch a couple more passes, Jordan Love doesn't miss a couple, like between drops and missed throws, I think they win that game. I really do. Jalen Hurts did not impress me whatsoever. He made some good throws, and then he looked like just Dak with the interception. Like when Dak gets trigger happy, he just throws it anywhere. That's what Jalen Hurts was doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, both teams in that one. There was some bright spots, but outside of that, we both said coming out of that game, it was like, who was trying to win that game and who was trying to throw that game for the opposing team? I mean, I texted you at one point. I was like, I don't think either team wants to win. I think they just wanted, like, you win the game. No, you win the game. I don't want to. Like, somebody had to win it, so it finally ended up with that tally there. But this Colts-Packers game, I mean, you got to be able to survive without Jordan Love. You got to be able to survive. The biggest thing, like we're talking, defense has got to step up big time. The defense has got to be big. And then you're looking at the Packers' offensive line, and you're saying, all right, you guys got to be big time because you guys got to give Malik Willis time in the pocket. You got to make holes for Josh Jacobs to run through. You got to be able to help this offense flow because without you guys, we don't have that decision-making guy back there. A lot of what the Packers like to do is when they set up their play, they run a guy in motion, see what's happening out in the field. Maybe they're going to audible real quick, call a hot route, whatever they're going to do. That was a lot of Jordan Love's MO right there. So will Malik Willis be able to do stuff like that? But like you said, maybe it's a dumbing it down to the offense, so you take that factor away from it. So there's going to be a lot of different things to look for there in that Packers-Colts game coming up there. That's going to be on Sunday. That'll be a 12 o'clock kick for that one at noon on Fox. I believe Greg Olson's there. We don't get Tom Brady, sadly. We get Greg Olson for that game. I do like Greg Olson. I kind of felt bad for the guy that he kind of just got shafted once Tom Brady came in the picture. They're like, Greg, you're out. Like, we got Tom now. You're done. Like, I honestly did not like Greg Olson. I thought was a pretty good color analyst guy. Like, I honestly thought he wasn't bad. He wasn't like Romo, who's trying to give Nance like this whole laundry list of things to talk about in 10 seconds. It's not like that bad yet. So, I mean, this should be a good game. Should be a good game. Right now, the betting line, everything is on the Colts to win this one at Green Bay. It might swing that way, but what I want to see in this game is even if the offense does struggle underneath the Malik Willis, I got to see the defense slowly progress because what I saw in the run game against the Eagles did not impress me. I want to see the run game get better in this game against the Colts. Show me something moving forward so when Jordan Love does come back, I feel confident about the defense in those games, right? Because even when your starting quarterback isn't out there, you want to see slowly but surely things improve all the way around, all around the football team. So that's where I'm looking at this Colts-Packers game there. Let's look at the Eagles. Eagles, Falcons, Monday Night Football, Kirk, Money, Cousins. Not good in prime time, so we know that. The Eagles already have the upper hand. I don't know why. I don't know why Kirk Cousins just sucks in prime time, but that's just him. That it's just his thing, I guess. So, I mean, right now you got Falcons, They're 0-1, I believe, heading into this matchup. Yeah, they're 0-1. 0-1 heading into this matchup. Eagles, they're sitting there 1-0 with that win over the Packers. The betting line is on the Eagles to win this game here. Aaron, what are we looking at? What are we seeing here? Eagles, Falcons, how you feeling? Let me know what you're thinking with this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pulling out. Not that these are huge, stats here, but the Eagles seem to own the Falcons. I mean, 21-15. That's not as dominant as I thought it would be. I mean, obviously there was a lot of years where the Eagles were absolute like the worst team or one of the top 3-4 worst teams in the NFL for quite some time there. So I mean, factor that in for sure. But I mean, Kirk Cousins surprisingly 6-5 against the Eagles of all time. I thought he would be like 2-8. I mean, it seems like every time we play him, we win, but that's definitely not the case. So the eye test is failing me there. He's 12-20 in primetime games all time, so not great. Obviously, not great at all. But I think the Eagles are the better team here. I coming home, after the Brazil trip, with the Packers, both the Packers and Eagles finally get back to the U.S. I mean, just that's going to be at least a little bit more comfortable for them. I don't care what they say. Oh, it was a great trip, whatever. You're back home. You're in your own bed, that type of thing. So I look for the Eagles to win this game. I mean, I would be kind of surprised if the Falcons come in. I mean, Falcons struggled last week against the Steelers. I think they put up 10 points against Pittsburgh. 18-10. They lost to Pittsburgh. So yeah, I mean, Kirk Thuggins, as they call him. He threw 2 picks and he threw for 155 yards. We'll see. I coming off that Achilles injury, not an ACL, an Achilles with him. I don't know if he's going to be the Kirk Cousins of the past, and even the Kirk Cousins of the past he's a good stat guy and he'll get you like 10 wins and that's about it. So, excuse me. I think the keys are I just want to see the defense. Once again, it seemed like against the Packers, they were flying around, which I haven't seen that in years. At least they were making attempts, and it looked like they at least were cohesive for the most part. So I want to see the linebacking core do the same, at least the same aggression. Now, definitely left some tackles out there against the Packers, but that's going to happen, especially, we brought up that crappy field that they played on there. So, I just want to. I expect the offense to be good. Jalen Hurts needs to stop turning the ball over. It's driving me insane already. He's got 2 picks, 2 fumbles basically. I mean, lost 1. I mean, lost 2. If I'm not wrong there, but it just even if they don't put up monster numbers, I want them to not turn the ball over. And I told you Zach Bond was gonna kind of break out. He kind of did. I mean, 11 tackles. He kind of did his job. So. Less turnovers. If it's not a blowout, I won't be mad, but less turnovers, and hopefully the defense holds them to kind of some lower points. I mean, they put up 10 last week. So you figure the Steelers have a good defense. Probably not an insanely good defense, but a good defense. So yeah, kind of more of the same. I expect to be 2-0. I'll be disappointed if they lose to the Falcons. That's not the best team in the league.
No, not by any means. This is, I mean, a solid Falcons team. They got pieces, they got weapons. The defense is better, but like you said, I mean, the Eagles should walk out of here with a win. Kirk Cousins has always been like that. You need a good defense. If he would have had a good defense in Minnesota, I thought he would have done a lot better. I think their record would have looked a lot better just because, like you said, he's a stat guy. He's going to do the simple things for you. He's not going to be that over the top Patrick Mahomes kind of guy. He's like
well, Andy Dalton in his prime. When Andy Dalton
in his prime kind of guy. Just a good, solid quarterback will give you a good day, but you got to have other factors that go your way to win that ball game. So that's where you're at right now. Falcons, Eagles, Monday night for that game there. The rest of the NFL slate, we'll go quick. We'll go quick here. We'll go quick picks along the way. Dallas playing New Orleans. That game is in Dallas. I got Dallas winning that game.
Do you want to raise the stakes and make it a that little?
All right. If you lose the college football, but you win the NFL, it negates the whipped cream to the face.
Okay, all right.
If you lose both, you take a double doser.
So really, it's really double or nothing.
Double or nothing. You can either negate the entire outcome of the college football slate, or you're double dosing it along the way.
All right. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
All right.
Make
So, okay. This is what we'll do. I'm gonna have to go quick here. We got okay. All right. So how are we gonna remember this real fast here? All right. Give me Dallas, New Orleans. I'm gonna take Dallas. What do you got?
Give me the Jags or the Browns.
Jags over the Browns. Oh, I thought we were just going to go through the entire slate of games there.
Oh, I mean, we can. That'll be harder. That'll definitely be a challenge.
All right, we'll go simple right away. We'll pick the rest of the game. So Dallas over New Orleans is mine. You have the Jags over the Browns.
Yep.
Okay, so you got the Jags. I'm going to take. There's a lot of toss-up games. A lot of things that I could see going one way or another.
There are.
Like this is a pretty. I mean, I'm gonna get Baltimore over Las Vegas Raiders. I'm gonna take the Ravens to win that game. I'm gonna get my safety blanket here.
Okay.
I'm looking at the rest now. I'm like, I don't want to pick between those other games there.
I know it.
There's some games that go both ways.
You can talk. Yeah, you can. Give me. Man, I don't want to pick. I was watching Jane Daniels today, though. I watched a little bit of that back, and I was kind of impressed for the most part. Commanders' defense is very shaky, though. I mean, Baker just lit them up like a Christmas tree.
Do you really think Daniel Jones can light up a defense?
That's where I'm leaning. I ask anybody. I never have trust in the Redskins, Commanders, Washington football, whatever you want to call them this today, the next week or whatever. But give me the Commanders at home. I don't love that, but I think the Giants fall to 0-2 without Saquon. They're struggling. They're struggling.
This is all I got to say to that. I feel bad for Daniel Jones simply because everybody is pissed because they gave him all this money. It wasn't Daniel Jones who gave Daniel Jones all this money. It was the Giants who gave Daniel Jones all this money. So if you're a Giants fan out there, you cannot be pissed that Daniel Jones is making all this money and sucking right now because your organization paid for Daniel Jones. It's not the other way around. So I had to get that off my chest because I see videos of him walking out of the stadium and like people are heckling him and they're booing him. And it's like, I honestly felt for the guy. I was like, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I suck. Like I wasn't supposed to be this high paid quarterback to begin with. The organization paid me all this money. Like that's where I'm at on this. I know he's been stinking. I know he shouldn't have got paid, but like he shouldn't have got paid. That's a Giants problem, not Daniel Jones' problem. So that's where I'm at on that situation. I don't know. I feel bad for the guy. I'll be honest with you. I feel bad for the guy because the amount of hate that he's getting is like he wasn't that good to begin with. He had Saquon. He had this year where he wasn't that great. He just looked better because Saquon was healthy. So now it's like you wanted him to be that guy, but he never was that guy. That's where I'm at on the Saquon or on the Daniel Jones front.
You're not wrong. I look at it like if you or I were drafted into New York, you have to have thick skin. Like it doesn't matter. The Giants could not go to the playoffs for 15 years. They're going to treat you like that. Year 16. Like if you're not performing, it's like Philadelphia. I mean, even New England, they don't hold their yes, ever since the Belichick and all that, but it's not like New York, Philadelphia. I mean, it even gets a little bit loud in Chicago. Like Chicago, when they struggle, it's like come figure it out. Like certain fan bases do not have like a long leash with guys, and the Giants are a prime example of that. So it's I don't know if as much as like this is a bad answer is like I don't know if I feel bad because he's making $40 million a year, but these are people at the end of the day. They're not robots. It's like only like if they hand you $40 million, it doesn't mean everything's great in your life. If you're waking up and you walk out of your house and you get told to go F yourself and you're going to the grocery store and you're told you're the worst thing since you're the worst quarterback to ever play. Like that's kind of I don't care how tough skin you have. You could be Tom Brady, whatever, killer mindset, Kobe Bryant, Mamba mentality. If you hear that enough, it's going to start, eating at your soul. So I do to a certain degree, I do feel for him too. Cause like there are people on Twitter that will say, or on X that'll say that, oh, he's making $40 million a year. He has nothing to complain about. Like it's deeper than that. It's not just money. That's not the only thing here. So I do feel for him. it's kind of like a double-edged sword, though. He took the money, so you gotta think. Well, I gotta perform. Like it doesn't matter if the offensive line is garbage. Like it's not necessarily his fault, but he's got to say, well, I'm gonna get crapped on if I don't. Like, it's just the way it is. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, playing for the New York Giants is not. It's not easy, and quarterback is the most important position. So it's we'll see. I mean, it's going to get ugly there before it gets better, I think. So I'm here for it. I'm glad, but it's it's a hot mess already. It's week 1. So
No, I agree. I agree. Like he took the money, he should be performing. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but it's like if I'm a Giants fan, I'm not mad at Daniel Jones. I'm mad at the organization that made him a high-paid quarterback. Like he should never have gotten to that point. You should have paid Saquon. You should have franchise tagged Daniel Jones because all he had was one good year. You knew what you had in Saquon when he was healthy. So it's like it was an organizational problem, and I think they're yelling at and threatening and telling this guy to go F himself. It's like you're doing that to the wrong guy right now. Find the owner, find the GM, tell them how you feel. Don't tell Daniel Jones because you make $40 million, but it's like, I'm not going to turn that down. I'm Daniel Jones. I'm not this guy coming out of LSU or this guy coming out of, Texas or wherever. Like, I'm a nobody and I'm getting $40 million a year now. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that to the bank. And yeah, you got to have tough skin, but it's just like I just see video on top of video and then comment on top of comment. It's like, okay, after a while, you kind of feel for the guy because you're like, I almost feel bad for you right now that you're just completely getting just torched everywhere. So last game here. I'm gonna take a spicy one. I got to take a spicy one. I took two gimmies off the bat there. Are you going to take the Chargers in Carolina?
I thought about it, but that's a gimme to me. As much as it's too much of a like Carolina's too crappy for me to pick them. So it's like I don't know how good the Chargers are, but I know how bad Carolina looks. So
all right, I'm gonna take my team. I'm gonna take my team for my last one. Give me Green Bay over the Colts. There'll be my not so much a gimme right there.
Like it. I like that. That's an interesting. I kind of want to see that just because of Malik Willis and then
I hope he lights the world on fire. I really do. I hope when Jordan Love comes back, we have a conversation like these conspiracy people are like, we should start Malik Willis over Jordan Love, and Love's making a boatload of money.
We've seen, I mean, that's how Geno Smith kind of finally, not this, different spots in their career. You never know. I mean, and if you're Malik Willis, this is like a try. Even if you don't come back to the Packers, this is a tryout for.
Yeah, like, you want to see this guy perform and find his way onto another roster somewhere.
Exactly. Like he wants to. Nobody wants to be I mean, I'm sure there's who was that Bears? Jay Cutler. He would have been fine being a backup. But if you have any competitive spirit inside of you, you want to be the guy. So Malik Willis getting the keys for a couple of weeks, maybe a month type of deal. I mean, this is kind of an open tryout for him to say, maybe he'll be, who knows
our
where.
Nick Foles. He's our Nick Foles.
Quite possibly. You just don't want a Carson Wentz. That's what you don't. You might, as long as Jordan Love doesn't turn into Carson Wentz, you're fine.
That's true. That's true.
I have two games that I keep going back and forth in my mind on. Jets, Titans. I mean, Titans dropped that game in Chicago, and they never should have. So I'm thinking, give me Will Levis jersey. I want that guy's jersey. That's how much I'm a Will Levis supporter. Penn State missed the ball on him. Should have been quarterback over Clifford probably. Took his talents to Kentucky and played pretty good there. It's either that or I go Buccaneers, Lions, and I say Baker gets revenge for the playoffs last year. That's a little bit of like an upset alert. But in Detroit, the Bucs go. Oh, man. I'm picking one of those games because like you picked a spicy one. Either one of those games to me is a little bit like there's a little bit spice there. Just because I never want to pick the Jets because I have no faith in them. Give me the Buccaneers over the Lions in Detroit.
Bucs over Lions. Nice.
Upset.
All right. What do you got? 3, 2, 1. Jags. You have the Jags over the Cleveland Browns. You have the Commanders beating up on the Giants, and you have the Bucs over the Lions. What do you got? 3, 2, 1.
Give me 3 for the Jags. I'm really
Okay,
down on
thanks.
the
Go
Browns after
3, 2,
last
1
week.
down that list.
Give me 2 on the give me 2 on the Bucks. Give me 2
2
on the
on the
Bucks.
Bucks. Ooh.
Feeling, and then 1 on who was that? The Washington over the Giants.
I took. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of my Ravens one because I feel like that one's gonna be too. That was a gimme pick. I think the Ravens will beat up on the Raiders. Give me. I'll take that. I don't know if that's gonna be a gimme one either. That might be a gimme one. Give me San Fran at Minnesota because I feel like that could be a closer game than what a lot of people think.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the 49ers over the Minnesota Vikings because I don't think that's a gimme. I really do think the Sam Darnold and this Minnesota offense with Aaron Jones now and a decent offensive line, they've found something. That's going to be a good game, but I'm going to take the 49ers to win that one. So I have 3 on Dallas, 2 on the 49ers, and 1 on the Packers to beat the Colts. That's my one where it's like, I want to cheer for the Packers, but I don't know how that one's going to all work itself out there. So there we go. That's going to be for avoiding the pie to the face, hopefully, if I lose in the college football slate there. Let's see. What do we got to get into? Yeah, let's get to the baseball. Let's get to baseball real quick. The Brewers have a series coming up this weekend with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Coming off of a series win there against the San Francisco Giants. Magic numbers slowly dwindling down there for the Brewers to win the division. The race is still on for that number 2 spot in the National League right now. Phillies, Dodgers, they're up top right now. Brewers back 3 games of the Dodgers. They're 4 games back of the Phillies right now for the 1 spot in there. Aaron, what do you think? Do your Phillies find a way to end the season as the 1 seed heading into the playoffs?
I mean, they've been good lately. Just coming off that series win against the Rays. Oh man. I'm gonna say they don't. I think the Dodgers finished as the 1, unfortunately. Just because, as much as the Dodgers can be Jekyll and Hyde, so can this year. I mean, look at the American League. Even there's no team pulling away. We're all in this like mid-80 win group right now. Brewers, Phillies, Dodgers. Yankees, Orioles. Yankees, Orioles. Somebody else in the AL. Cleveland Guardians. Yeah, Cleveland Guardians there. But yeah, unfortunately, the Dodgers, I think, will edge them out in the end. Should be interesting. I'm just trying to kind of get to, as much as that's kind of crappy to say, I'm trying to get to just get the regular season done at this point. But yeah, I'd say Phillies finish as the 2.
Phillies finish as the 2. Well, they're going to finish as a 3 because my Brewers are going to rattle off some wins here and end up in that 2 spot there. Okay, so I got a hypothetical scenario. We talked about it yesterday on the Integrity Sports Network. If anybody feels like, well, technically now we're transitioning to more of an all-around sports talk, kind of like ESPN, but better because it's us. That's all you got to know. But it's going to be an all-around sports show. It has been the baseball podcast. So yesterday we were on there talking, and we got to a scenario where Kyle on Integrity Sports Network, their Chomping on the Bit podcast, he came out and he's like, what would you do if you're the Brewers and you get into, let's just say you're 2 games back of the Phillies heading into that last series? Or what would you do would you just play for the 3 spot? Or are you looking to still try and get that 2 spot yet? Are you trying to rest guys? Where are you at scenario-wise? And I said point blank, for my Brewers right now, I've seen them in the past rest guys. And when they rest guys, it goes south fast. I don't trust them on rest. I think they need to keep getting in-game reps. I said, honestly, play them like 4 to 5 innings. Even your starting pitchers, put them out there for 4 to 5 innings down the stretch run. And, you're not burning them out. You're not using them too much, but you're keeping their arms loose, fresh, feeling it, everything staying the same. You don't want to get inconsistent heading into the playoffs. So as a Philly fan, I mean, if you're sitting there, say you're 3 games up, Brewers have that 3-game series with the Mets to end the season, you're basically in. All you got to do is win a game. What would you want your Phillies to do? Would you want them to rest guys? Would you want to keep guys out there? Where are you leaning towards in that scenario?
I mean, if it's the 1 seed, I say you go for it because then you get that rest. Outside of that, not really. I don't really. I mean, I would kind of fall along the same lines as what you would go for there. Don't completely take them out of games where it's like, okay, now they haven't pitched in 8-9 days. Like I don't like that, or even more in some certain situations there. So if you're playing for the 1 seed, play it like any other game. Keep who's his name, Freddie, right, for the Brewers there.
Yep.
Or keep Aaron Nola out there. Keep whoever it is, Corbin Burns for the Orioles, Garrett Cole for the Yankees. It doesn't matter. Keep your ace out there. If he's giving you 6-7 strong innings, don't overdo it and blow him out. But yeah, just 100 pitches. That's fine. At the end of the day, that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to pitch every 5 games. I would try not to tax the bullpen. Like if it's you start getting shelled, okay, we're not going to bring in 6 guys for a game. You know what I mean? Just I wouldn't overdo that. Even if there is a chance to win that game, I'm not bringing in, boom, 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 4, 5, 6, like just blowing everybody out in the last series or even in the last week. I would not try and do that so much. But yeah, if you're competing for the 1 seed, I say you go all in for it. Outside of that, I'd be a lot more cautious. I'd pitch guys like 4 or 5 innings, even if they're dealing. I probably would just take it easy on them.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. So to wrap it up, is there any sports fans got superstitions out there, right? They got superstitions. You got it. Like for me, I got to sit at a certain spot at times. If I'm watching a certain game, I got to sit at this certain spot. Sometimes I'll pace in between TVs because I think that one TV is going to be playing a better game than the one that I'm watching on. Right now, I'm going with the handlebar. I'm going with a handlebar stash for Gorman Thomas just because I believe that if Stormin' Norman was doing it in 1982 when the Brewers made it to the World Series, maybe if I have the stash, it can conjure up a little bit of that. It can conjure up a little bit of that World Series, and we can make it again. I don't know. You got to do what you got to do, right? Do you got any of those superstitions that sports fans and anybody who's listening right now, if you got that superstition that you have to do this before a game or anything like that, what's a superstition if you got one, or a couple that you got to do before a game?
It's gonna sound like kind of stupid or corny, but I've been trying to get on the TikTok wave now. So at least for Penn State, if I don't post a TikTok in relation to Penn State during the week, I feel like I'm jinxing them only because now I've made that part of like the regimen or the routine per se. So I will say that I try not to, like, if I'm watching at home and then I like go to a restaurant like halfway, I try not to do that. Now I did do that during the Super Bowl, but I did it when the game was starting to unravel for the Eagles against the Chiefs. I already knew. I was just like, here we go. It wasn't like I left in the middle of like the the unraveling was already occurring and it was just, downward spiral at that point. So I try to stay in one location for the game. I think that sometimes, if need be, I will flip it on like the radio if I'm like out and about and I got to drive somewhere or whatever. But I try not to be like, oh, I'm going to watch the first half at the restaurant and then come home. Like that, I don't know. It just throws me off. Might throw the results off. So that is a routine based thing. Other than that, not really. I used to really like, I wore the same like sweatshirt or the same shirt. Kind of got away from that a little bit just because it's been their same results almost every year, no matter what I do. So now I'm just like, stick to the same location, start to finish. That's about it.
My mom used to be real bad. We'd be watching a game and I'd get nervous. I always got nervous watching games, especially when it came to tournament time for the Badgers. We were big, basketball fans. So when the Badgers would be in the tournament, I got real nervous. So I'd go out in the kitchen and the radio was out there and it was always ahead. So I'd be listening on the radio there while it was happening, And I'd come back into the living room and if the Badgers were doing well again, she'd send me back out to the kitchen. She'd be like, don't sit down. Go back out there. Whatever you were just doing, go do it again. So I'd have to go back out and lean up against the counter and listen on the radio. And then if they started losing, then I could come back in. But it was one of the, and I've been the same way. Like if my wife will come out of the bathroom and the Badgers just like scored or something, like go back. I don't care what you got. Just go back. Don't come in here until I tell you it's okay. Like they're doing good now. Get out of here. It's just one of those things where it's like, I just feel it sometimes where it's like, whatever I do is somehow impacting what they're doing over there. I've always said it with my hatred of Christian Yelich. Like, I don't even hate the guy that much, but like I always talk so much crap about him, and then he'll hit a home run. It's like I am doing you a favor. Every time that I talk crap about you, you hit a bomb. So I just keep doing it. I just kept doing it and doing it. It's like every time, boom, boom, boom. It's like, are you serious right now? Like I am the reason why you won an MVP. You're welcome. You're welcome on that one. So
Fair enough.
there's a lot of crazy superstitions out there. I've seen a lot of posts on them where it's like these people are whack. Like I thought I was whack, telling people to go back to the bathroom or something like that. Like these people are like, don't wash your jersey all season long, or like you have to sit on this certain couch cushion. If you're not sitting on this couch cushion, it's all wrong. If you don't have this drink or this food on that game day, it's wrong. Like you don't wake up at this time on game day, you already screwed your team. Like it's just so many weird things that people do. But hey, that's the greatest part about sports is somehow, some way, we really think at the end of the day, what we do at home impacts them on the field. That's the greatest part of it. That's the greatest part of it. So I think that's a great spot to stop it for the day. I think that's a great spot to stop it there. Aaron, any last things you got to mention there? Make sure that you mention where people can find you out there, social media, everything like that.
Yeah, as always, I appreciate you letting me come on the Wisconsin Sports on the Go podcast. I've learned more about Wisconsin sports in the last couple of months than my entire life, so I owe that all to you. Yeah, on you can find me on Twitter or on whatever X, Twitter, whatever it is, at Brutally Honest without the T. Brutally Honest Sports on TikTok. I've just been trying to throw up some quick hitters on there. Trying to integrate those onto YouTube. Brutally Honest Sports podcast on YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. Got some other uploads I got to get up on Spotify, so look for those. But yeah, I definitely appreciate it. It's always a good time. We could probably talk for 6 hours and still have room to go. So it's always fun. Always fun coming on here.
Oh yeah. Always a great time there. Always a great time. Always a pleasure to have Aaron on here on the show talking. This was the weekend preview. We're hoping to get more of these in. We're hoping to do it every week. We're hoping to get a weekend preview for you guys every week. Do it live so that way we can get comments in, everything like that as we go along. Right now we're small. We're small. We're just getting started. Hopefully our comment section starts blowing up and we can start talking to you guys. So for anybody who joins in later or anything like that, thanks for listening into the show there. Leave comments, leave reviews, whatever you want to tell us out there. But for Aaron and myself, this has been a crossover weekend preview episode of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage and Brutally Honest Sports. We'll catch you guys back on Monday for a recap of the weekend. But until then, deuces.